They behave over there.
Yeah. So once again, I'd like to welcome everybody. First of all, I'd like to just have a quick moment of silence for 3 inductees that passed away this past year. Richard Knight, Fitz Bacon, who was also a member of our committee, and Lois Litz. Thank you. So a little brief history of the Hall of Fame. The first year was of our inductions were 2007, and we went every year for several years, and now we go every other year on the odd years. So our next induction after tonight will be in the year 2025. In the program, the criteria is in there, and the dates for the future inductions, and also in there are all the inductees from each year are listed in there. So including this year, and these inductees tonight, it'll be 83 athletes, 17 others, which include coaches and groups and stuff, and 26 teams. So I think we've done pretty well with selections and everything over the years. I'd like to thank the committee that has been intact. Marie Brand is new to our committee this year. Liz Manley, Bert Richton, John Malo, Sarah Malo, and Dan Moriarty, who's not here tonight. He's at some other function. So when you see him, ask him why he wasn't here. So the committee relies on the public and past graduates and stuff to nominate people. I mean, we know a lot of athletes, especially the ones that stand out and stuff. But there's other ones, and especially from way back. Yeah, way back in Bert's time, which was the 70s, right, Bert?
Yeah.
And the problem is with athletes from way back is there's not a lot of information. There was not a lot of press. There was not a lot of coverage and stuff. And the yearbooks from way back then, a lot of them covered the fall sports and the winter sports, and then that was it, because the schools had to print the yearbooks so they could hand them to the seniors. So there's nothing in the springs, and there was nothing like graduations and stuff. So it's kind of tough when you get someone way back and to find information. But we rely on the public to give us names and stuff, and we try to do the best we can. And when we do get names, we hopefully get information that comes with it to make our jobs easier. A lot of times we will do some research, but we're a small group, and so that's the history. Tonight I'd also like to thank M-PACT for being here. They're taping tonight, and they'll edit, and it'll be on later sometime down the road. I also like to thank the Journal for being here to cover this. And so what we're going to do is, after the inductees are introduced and everything, we're going to step over to the side over here, and he'll take pictures, and families or whoever you want to come up in the pictures, okay? Then eventually they'll get them to me, and then I'll try and get them to everybody, okay? So first on the list, I'm going to ask Jason Roebuck to come up.
Good evening. Kate O'Neill moved to Monson from the state of Washington, summer of 2002. Her sister Morgan came out for the cross-country team right away that fall. Kate had tried out for soccer, and she went through the tryouts, probably lasted 3 or 4 days. Eric Degnan was the coach at the time. And he cut her. And Eric had a game today, but I wanted to publicly thank him for cutting her. She walked down from Rogers Field and asked me to join the team. And the rest is history. Right after that, she started coming into practice. Everything was going fine, running very tentatively. Week 2, we had our first time trial on the course. We had 18 runners at the time on the team that year, and she came in 9th, which was fine. She was huffing and puffing, but there was a lot left in the tank. Throughout the first half of that year, she started to creep up, and she started to realize what she could do. And her sister Morgan at the time was the number 1 runner. She was the number 1 runner for a couple races. After that, we had a talk with Katria, especially Morgan. She yelled at her and said, "You need to run harder. We know you can run faster." And she did. And so she became the number 1 runner halfway through the year as an 8th grader. Later on that season, won her first race. And at Western Mass that year, she placed 11th overall, qualifying for the state championships as an 8th grader. That was 2002. 2003, she had an injury. She didn't run in the fall season after the league meets were over, so she didn't run in Western Mass. 2004, she placed 3rd. Again, qualified for the state championships. 2005, she qualified again, along with, we had 3 runners, Kelly Pennington and Lauren Fogarty. Also that year, it was 2005, she ran a great race. We used to run at Wickham Park down in Connecticut, big invitational. We were in the seeded race. Had to be 35 schools from up and down the Atlantic seaboard, Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, New York. And with her and the other one, Kelly and Danielle and Lauren and Morgan, they took 2nd. They were runner-up, and it was a really a great race that they ran. In her senior year, she qualified again for the state championships. 4 times in 5 years, and probably would have qualified had she not been injured in that 03 year. Over those 5 years, she set at least 6 course records when I went back through the years, and took at least 25 first places. Very competitive. You know, beneath the surface, there was a real fire in there. She put everything on the line, and not just in running, but she was on the debate team. I don't know if anybody was around during those early 2000 years, the debate team. They were winning state championships. It was unbelievable. And it was because of her and Morgan and some others. I mean, they were making kids cry. I mean, it was terrible. They were brutal. Also, way back, the deal was when we get sweatshirts, jackets, things of that nature, it has to be approved by the AD. And so we got hoodies or jackets or whatever they were at the time. And this particular year, Katria was one of 4 captains, Jamie Richmond, Kate Peck, and Allie Evans. And they decided to make 4, actually 5, I have one, sweatshirts, hoodies that nobody knew about. Monson cross country, and on the back was one of Katria's favorite quotes. This is to give you a little insight of how the fire in her. Trample the weak. Do you remember this, Adam? Yeah, and hurdle the dead. And Jim Teeter stepped in and shut that down, which was fine. But that just to give you an idea, you know, she's a great kid, very smart, but boy, there's a real fire in there, very competitive. Her impact on the team from day one was immeasurable. From her first year as an 8th grader until her senior year, she was our number 1 runner. As early as her freshman year, she became one of the team leaders. And as her senior year, she became a captain. Katria was also an integral part of our summer running program. We would run morning and afternoon sessions. The runners could pick which one worked best for them. And she became a staple in that. She would show up, her and her sister, one of the 2 sessions from late June when we got out of school till the end of August before we started running as a team when school started. During her sophomore through senior year, the team grew to nearly 40 runners. We had huge teams. You had to take separate buses, Billy on one and me on the other. And what most people didn't see was another level below the competitive one. And that was one of compassion and real team ethics and teamwork. What people didn't see was the times that she would spend with the younger runners, encourage them. We had runners of all talent levels, and it didn't matter. She tried to help them, encourage them as much as she could. When she finished a race, was usually, she was in the top 3 or whatever, depending on who we were running. She would come off the finish line, get her time, and she would go back out on the course to cheer on her teammates. And actually, she would also cheer on the other runners from the other teams. Real class act. She was great to have for the 5 years. We're really sorry to see her move on, but that's what happens. She was one of the reasons that the Monson girls cross country took off and competed at a very high level for over 10 years. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I haven't talked to her in quite a while. She lives on the West Coast, but it was my pleasure and honor to have her as an athlete on my team. She unfortunately was not able to be here, so I'm going to accept the award on her behalf. Jim Dugan has said that he will take care of it and make sure she gets it in a timely fashion. So thank you very much.
You can tell he's a teacher. So next up is the 2005 boys cross country team. And I'm going to call Coach Bill Devine up, but I'm just going to tell you that cross country is it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. And I know that because I ran for Coach Devine, because I did play soccer one year, and there was 60 kids on the field at the same time, and it was just like, and then so I tried cross country, and Coach Devine, he cross country is not just like you just run and get your time and everything. There's a lot of strategy involved. We had a course that went up through the high school. Well, it's now the elementary, whatever it's called now. They keep changing the name, and so when we were running a team and stuff, we had certain runners that weren't quite as fast as some of the other ones. So the faster ones went up the trail and the slower ones blocked the trail, so the competitors couldn't get past them. And it was all strategy and stuff. It wasn't called cheating or anything like that. It was strategy. So I do know a little bit about cross country and running and stuff, but Coach Devine's he's gonna bore you with some more stuff. So.
What an entrance.
I don't know what to say, Jim. We're talking about 2005 cross-country team. All right, I was gonna put my glasses away. I did. 12-2. From 2000, Jason mentioned something about 10 years, and it was about 10 years. From 2000 to 2008, I was still coaching at Monson High School. If you look at the pictures, whether it's league champs or whatever, you see these little small children in 7th grade, and you watch, and they get bigger, and like Adam's being inducted, and that's why I thought of this. He's in the bottom of 3 rows. In 2004, from 2002 to 2004, and he moved to the 2nd row. He didn't quite get to the top row yet, but. The 2005 team has 4 Hall of Famers in it. Well, 3, hopefully 4. Ryan Brown, Casey Fuzzle, and now Adam Boucher. If you're fortunate enough to coach cross country, you're a lucky person. Most of the students I've had, whether it's high school or college, are intrinsically motivated. They do very well in school. That's something in the athletic awards banquet. You don't talk much about academics. Last year, I didn't say anything, and I wanted to make sure I did this year. It's a sacrifice. You're a good student, and you're playing one sport, two sports, three sports, and people forget that. What are the other guys doing? They're maybe watching you, maybe playing now video games. So I really appreciate the fact that in cross country specifically, I never had a bad team. I never had a bad student. I mean, I was lucky. And same thing goes to track, because most of the track team is part of the cross country team. Anybody here, I only saw a couple that are interested. I have pictures of that 2005 team. I think I got them from the librarian who gave them to me, or a parent. So I have doubles of all of them. So if you like one, you graduated and are on the cross country team, I have some pictures. Mr. and Mrs. Boucher, got some more. Thank you very much for this fine award. One of many good teams in Monson history. He had his bicycle, he missed some meets. Bicycle hit a dog and he broke his collarbone.
All right. You brought that up, but I tried to forget that. Yes, it was when I was running, and I was not a senior, but the next day we were supposed to run Palmer for the championship. And I was at a friend's house, and I was riding my bike coming home, and a dog came out, and I hit that dog, and I went about 80 feet in the air and broke my collarbone. And I was out for the season. And we lost the Palmer by a couple points. But a few days later, I think it was Quabog or something had beaten someone, and we ended up tying for the league. I think we won it, and so the teammate comes to the house, and I'm in a sling, and I'm all hunched over. They didn't let me know, but it was, it was great. But if I was there, we would have won easily. Yeah. So the dog was fine. Dog ran off. But a week later, that same dog, a guy on a motorcycle was going down the same place, hit that dog, and he went flying off. The dog still lived. And everybody else got hurt. So I'm gonna ask Mr. Devine to come up and present. Yeah, come on. Family wants to come up and say.
Okay. It's my honor and privilege to talk about Adam. Adam, if you look back at 2002, and then when he was a senior, he grew a lot, not just physically, but mentally. And he ended up breaking the school record for cross-country meet. The course was 2.87 in 2008, and up until 2011, it was still the same course. The only question I have is if Casey Fuzzle beat your record. I don't know. Casey was pretty fast.
Claims he did the year after.
Really? Yeah. Well, asterisk. I think it was 2000. No, it was 2.878 when he ran it. So you got the record. Interesting thing. When I end up going to Western State and coaching there, we run against Keene State, and that's the school Adam happened to go to. And I talked to his coach on several occasions and asked him how Adam was doing. And he's the hardest working kid I ever had on a team, hardest working kid. So not only was he hardworking in high school, he was hardworking in college also. interesting point. Adam was interested in going into graphics. So he came to my house, I don't know how many times, and I tried to help him out with drawing, et cetera, and hopefully get him on the right track in graphics, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Adam was a great student, and he was a good runner, and I have some pictures for you. Would you come up, please? Do I give him this? James, do I give him this, or does he talk?
You can talk.
Oh, you leave this here? These are yours.
Thank you very much, Coach.
You're welcome.
I guess I just want to say thank you to everybody that helped. Coach Devine, my parents, mom and dad. It was a heck of a time back in high school. Seems like a long time ago now, 15 years ago. Time flew by real fast, but I'm always looking back on those days. Coach taught me a lot. Starting running back in 7th grade, like you said, you're real small. I knew some of the guys from Boy Scouts. They were seniors at the time. Jason Densmore. Everyone's been throwing out names all night. So, Jason Densmore and Alan Bodowitz. And, those were my friends when I was 11 years old. And they were runners, so I was going to be a runner. And we had a lot of time starting 7th grade up into 12th grade. And Coach taught me a lot. Taught me a lot of the strategies Mr. Duggan was talking about. Yeah. But he taught me some other good strategies too. You go around that corner, that's when you want to speed up. That's when you want to leave the guys in the dust. They go around the corner and they see you an extra 200 feet ahead, makes them lose their steam. But I took all those with me up into college. I ran and I did what I could. I think I did the best running for Coach Devine. And I had a good time. Broke the record, ran a lot, put a lot of miles on the shoes. I don't know. Thank you very much.
No, right there. They're waiting.
Let's get you two first. Get the two of you first. Get the puck. Hey, family. There we go.
Congratulations. No cheering over there. Speaking of cheering, next up is,
See, this was a segment.
yeah. The 2013, 2014, and 2015 cheer teams. So they're making history tonight for the first cheer teams being inducted into Monson Athletic Hall of Fame. Well deserved. So way back in the day, in the early days of school, the cheerleaders used to cheer for the boys after they played basketball. A lot of them were basketball players. Then they would go and cheer for the men's team playing basketball. These cheer teams nowadays are they don't just go out and cheer and stuff. They're athletes. what the girls can do, or even the guys can do nowadays, you know, with the flips, gymnastics, and acrobatics and stuff, it's amazing. And in competitions, it's not just who's the loudest and everything like that. They set up pyramids, and you know, college cheering is on national TV, and they have national championship. So I applaud the coaches and stuff that have worked hard with these girls. The girls do an awesome job, and I'm actually going to mention we have a longtime coach over here, Jeannie Pascal, who coached many years in Monson. It's a great sport, and I'm happy to introduce Coach Caitlin Soto. Come on up.
Thank you so much.
We'll take pictures over here.
Okay, I don't really have a whole lot to say, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for recognizing us as a true athletic sport and for inducting my teams into the Hall of Fame. So thank you.
Next, I'm going to ask Sarah Malo to present the next inductee. Well, guess what? I run the show, and
I'm still gonna thank you. I would just like to take a minute to thank Jimmy Dugan, because this is a lot of work. He does a really great job. We're on the committee, but this is really Jimmy's thing, so let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. Some of you might be wondering what the connection is with Connor and I. I have to keep taking my old age is hard. Turns out in my 15 years of being heavily involved in Monson athletics, I have officially become Auntie Sarah to hundreds of other kids. And for that, I could not be more honored to stand up here and speak on his behalf. I was not one of Connor's coaches. However, I attended just about every single soccer game he played in his high school career. I would sit up on Malo Hill and often think, I hope Shane turns out to be the captain, teammate, and leader that Connor Hicks is. I can attest to his character on and off the field. I have admired the bond and connection he has with his mom and dad, sister Hannah, and now Allie, of course. By the way, I'm a big fan of Allie's. Connor's 2016 epic goal is sketched into my memory, much like Willie Tass's from '91. I often will play that video Kevin and my brother made of that season. Honestly, that video is the best pick-me-up we have going and such an amazing memory in Monson High School history. I wouldn't be doing Connor justice if I didn't head out to the streets and do my homework. I started with having a conversation with his high school coaches. Coach Ruette had these words to say. I started coaching Connor when he was 7. He was quiet, shy, and always had a smile on his face. I took over the Monson High School varsity coaching job when Connor was a junior. I knew coming into the program I had to make some changes. possess, control, and attack. I knew it would work because I had Connor Hicks as the team's center midfielder. At the end of the day, someone has to be that player who puts you over the edge, puts others on his back, and carries you to victory on a consistent basis. Whose level of his intensity is so high that I found myself, as his coach, just standing on the sidelines, feeling blessed that I was able to coach him. Congrats, Connor. Coach Brown had these words to say. Everyone talks about having the it factor. When it comes to special players, Connor has it. 2 instances come to mind. First, the one everyone remembers the most is the game-winning goal in the 2016 state finals against Cohasset that went viral. Second, and the one that means a little bit more to me, is watching what he had to go through at the beginning of the season with his heart procedure. Having the game you love taken away, granted it was a short period of time, but the unknown of how your body and mind will react coming back from that was a big testament to his character as a person and his desire to get back out there with his teammates. We could talk about Connor's soccer ability for hours, but the person, man, he is speaks volume to many that have met him, but I also think that's the key to his success on and off the pitch. Connor will go down as one of the greatest Monson High School soccer players and one of the best to ever play in Western Mass. It was an honor and joy to coach you, and this is well deserved. While we know this is a Monson High School Hall of Fame, I still wanted to chat with Coach Perry. Coach Perry coached Connor at AIC, and here is what he had to say. I still remember recruiting Connor during his Monson High School days, and then nearly losing him when his goal went viral on ESPN. That goal, Connor. God, it's just everywhere. Luckily for us, Connor committed to us, and he was and is such a wonderful person that joined AIC family in August of 2017. The recognition Connor is receiving is truly deserving. He's the type of person that is dedicated to his craft, always listening, learning, and giving 110%. He's a leader through his actions, his attitude, something I know Monson and AIC have been very fortunate to have within our programs. Connor will go down as one of the most important pieces during our most successful period as a program. He was one of our biggest attacking threats and one of our strongest defensive outlets. In 2021, Connor led the team as a captain. This year, we went to the NCAAs for the first time in program history, winning our first round and getting knocked out in the second to the runners-up. We don't need to talk about them. We also made it to the NE10 conference tournament final for the first time in program history. Connor played and started in every game, doing what Connor does best, leading by example. Thank you, Connor, for everything you've done for AIC and Western Mass Soccer. We are so proud of you. I then had a little fun with a text thread with some of Connor's Monson High School soccer teammates. Of course, I had to ask them to keep it clean. The short but sweet CJ had to say, Hicks was an incredible athlete in his time at Monson, a true leader on and off the field, and a great friend. Congratulations. The kind Bradford Medeiros had this to say. The reason we were so successful as a team was because of Connor Hicks. Connor never raised his voice or got mad at anyone on the field. I couldn't have asked for a better teammate, and when I messed up the state finals, it was Connor who scored the game-winning goal to get us our senior year state championship. I didn't have to regret making a mistake that could have cost us the game because Connor Hicks had my back. I'm glad to call him a friend, and I'm glad to call him my forever teammate. And Mike T, didn't know you were gonna be here, but I'll read what you had to say. You owe me one, Mike. Hicks has been one of my best friends since the second grade. I had the privilege to play sports with him from elementary to college. He is a great athlete in every sport he plays, including pickleball. From high school, club, and college soccer, he has always had very high work ethic and the first person to show up to any field. we were playing on. Off the pitch, Hicks is a great guy, and I have had countless memories with him since 2nd grade. He is a brother to me. Just don't let him fool you when he says he's 6 feet tall. He's actually 5'11". He is no doubt deserving of the Monson Hall of Fame, leading us to 2 state championship victories and being one of the most dominant high school soccer players around since he started playing. Congratulations. Last but not least, Noah Malo had these words to say. We tried to figure out a way for Noah to present this speech tonight live from Honduras, but turns out as a first lieutenant on Veterans Day, his admiral had other plans. But he had this to say. As I'm sure most of this speech has highlighted Connor's accolades, goals, assists, achievements, blah, blah, blah. But I would much rather highlight him for what is really important. The true, genuine character of someone I am lucky enough to call my lifelong friend. His kindness to others and enthusiasm for life speaks to the person Connor is and the incredible family that has allowed myself and many others a second home. As someone I've looked up to my entire life, on and off the soccer field, I strive to be more like Connor every day, as we all should. Congratulations, Connor, and remember, it's not about how fast you mow, it's about how well you mow fast. So a big hello from Central America to the Hicks family, and P.S. Connor, I signed you up for a tryout with the Honduran national team. With all these kind words about Connor, the truth is we could go on and on for hours about him as a person and a player. His smile, laugh, and personality is simply contagious. Kevin and Becky have raised a true gentleman, and I can't imagine how proud they are of him today. So put your hands together for Monson High School Hall of Famer, class of 2023, Mr. Connor Hicks.
I'll try and keep this short. First off, thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for putting this on tonight. Thank you for my family, my friends, my girlfriend, and some of my teachers and coaches for being here tonight. When I look back on my time at Monson, I'll more or less just think on the sense of community that we had. And I think every time we had a game that you would see so many people come out, whether it's in that halfway line or on top of the hill, there's always people there, and they're always just supporting you. Everyone talks about the goal. I'm tired of talking about the goal. But I'm more or less just focused on the amount of just support and the brothers that I had there with me. And we were getting kids to play from, they would play cross country or lacrosse. We told them, hey, come play for a year and we'll try and win you a jacket. And that's what happened 2 years in a row. And I'm just more or less just thankful for this community and this town. And just thank you.
Take a picture of Sarah first. And then... Good job. Ready? Next up, I'm going to ask Mr. Louis Madera to come up.
I didn't do anything yet. I didn't do anything at all except have a dad. Thank you, Jimmy, for doing this. Yeah, it's apparent how much work you've put into it. It's the second time today I've talked to a room full of people I don't know. It's interesting. But I wanted to, first of all, say thanks to my mom, for organizing this after so many years. You want to talk about going way back. My dad goes back 67 years. He graduated in 1956. And I was thinking maybe his coach would be able to induct him, but obviously his coach would. I don't know. I don't even know if Coach Moriarty is still alive. Probably not, right? Probably passed away a long time ago. But anyway, I also want to thank my boy Kyle, because my boy Kyle did a lot of the work to follow up on some of the stuff that I didn't even know that my father did. And after reading this program, I have to admit my dad was kind of a boss. Impressive to say the least. Letter in 3 sports. 16-inning game, we've all heard about the 16-inning game, but to see it in print actually gives it a little bit of reality. To pitch a 16-inning game, nowadays it'd be child abuse, right? You couldn't let somebody go 16-inning game, so I thought that was good. And knowing my dad, he would have loved and hated this recognition at the same time. He was pretty quiet about all of his accomplishments, and like I said, I didn't even really know my dad played soccer. Let alone play on varsity soccer. So he just never talked about it. The one thing about my dad is that he loved sports. That was his thing. Some of my earliest memories were of my dad reading the sports section on a Sunday morning and me wanting to go for the comics and him basically knocking them right out of my hand and saying, no, you got to read the sports section first. You always got to read the sports section first. His favorite sport was baseball. And another one of my favorite memories is of him sitting in our garage in Rhode Island. He would sit down in the garage in a beach chair and just listen to a ball game on an AM radio, because that was like the pure way for my dad to listen. I mean, he'd watch it on TV and everything, but the definite way he loved it was to listen to it on the radio. I think it probably brought it back to when he was a kid and he wasn't able to watch the ball games on TV. Another thing I'm grateful for was that before he died in 2006, he was able to see the beloved Red Sox finally win a World Series. I mean, I'm old enough to people give me grief about Tom Brady and all that kind of stuff. And I say, you don't know what it's like to have been a Boston fan, for all those years before 2000, right? So I was so glad he got to see that before he died. And my dad's passion for baseball was passed down through me and my own children. And the same is true for my sister Angela's family. Two of my nephews are here today. They both played ball. My kids all played ball. One of the last things I did with my dad before he died of cancer is while he was going through his treatments, we got to bring him to Burlington, Vermont, and he got to watch my son pitch in a state championship game and win the game. So that was an awesome time. He also got to go to Cooperstown and see my kid play before he died. So that was really good. So as much as my dad would have hated this limelight, he would hate standing up here right now, I know he'd be honored and thrilled to accept this award, and I'm honored and thrilled to accept it for him. So thanks a lot. Thanks. Come on, guys. Thanks, Jim. Over here?
You got the whole troops. Thank you.
So, oh, they're at the bar. Of course they are. So the next team that's going to be inducted is the 2016 boys soccer team. Unfortunately, the coach, Byron, couldn't make it tonight, so I'm just going to briefly, the write-ups in the program, in Monson's history, we've had state champions and stuff, and in any sport, it's very difficult to win one, never mind two, never mind back-to-back, like this team did, 2015, 2016. And if you look at the scores and stuff at the brackets, they had a lot of overtime games and penalty kick games and stuff, and that's kind of amazing that they had the perseverance, they just kept going. And there are 2 team members here tonight, which I'd like to come up and have a picture. Did Mike leave or is he still here? Well, at least he's not at the bar. So Connor Hicks was the captain and Mike was the goalkeeper on that team. So if you guys can come up, we'll take a picture of that. You guys want to say something? You haven't spoken tonight. No, you haven't spoken. Huh?
If you want me to.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go again. For our 2016 team, I think that past year we had won the championship, so I think there was a big target on our back, and we ended up getting a new coach, and we also got about 3 or 4 new players who haven't necessarily played soccer before, but they could run up and down, so that's all we kind of really needed. And we got Mike in goal, and he didn't start playing until his junior year, and he was a baseball player. In his first soccer game, he did punt a goal kick, so that was exciting. But he turned out to be one of the best keepers in the league, and if not the whole tournament, I think he got keeper of the tournament. And if you look back at our state championship game, there was a lot of things that could have gone either way, and he made a save on the goal line, and there was a couple goals in there as well, but he was a huge part of it. And I think our team just kind of took off from the start with not necessarily any expectations. So I think if you look at it, it was a huge success from the year before, and we just looked back then, it was just a lot of fun and a lot of new players and some memories for a lot of guys. So thank you.
So the next person I'd like to call up is, and I put her at this point of the program because I wasn't sure she was going to show, Liz Manley.
All right, good evening. I will keep this short and sweet because I'm not fond on speaking. However, I am here to present Connor Pennington with the diving recognition that he deserves as a state champion. But you need to know Connor did other sports, and as a member of the swim team, he also swam, and he did very well with his swimming. He contributed to the team's scores at every meet during his swimming events. You can read the booklet, but Connor won states the last 3 years of his high school career. His junior year, he actually won it after he had a pretty serious injury before Western Mass. So at this time, I would just like to bring Connor up. Say something.
Hi everybody. I want to thank my parents, all my coaches, Liz, Linda, Sarah. High school was a great time. That's the part that I remember. It was the athletic bits, not school. Also, can't forget Harris, track coach. Love that guy. I had a bit of success in diving, and The person that I really want to thank for my success was my sister, Kelly. Kelly was probably the best athlete that I've ever been in the presence of. She won countless state championships, went on to win national championships, and every single time I competed, she was like, "Connor, good job, but you can probably do better than that." And I think that's what I needed to hear in those times. So yeah, thanks, Kelly, and thank you everybody for having me here tonight.
Oh, Liz, was that a different speech that you just said? That was good. Next, I'd like to have, I always say your last name wrong. So Principal Joe? Yeah, I know. Well, so when I went there, it was the senior high school. Okay, that's what I remember. You know, it's not, I know it's Corey Hill. No, that's Granite Valley.
You're doing great.
Come on up, Joe. Yeah, just come on.
You're doing great.
Hey, what do you expect? Come on.
So it's really great that we don't know the names of the schools, but that's for a different night. So my pleasure to be talking about Bahu tonight. Had the pleasure of coaching Bahu for 3 years, his sophomore through senior season. His sophomore season, he was one of 3 sophomores on a team that had 10 seniors, which is really kind of unheard of. And it was a really dominant team. We finished the year 20-2. Unfortunately, laid an egg in the Western Mass Finals. But that season, I most remember about Bahu was, unfortunately, the semifinal game of Western Mass. We went into double overtime, which was because we missed a layup in regulation. And that was Bahu's layup. And I remember him coming back to the bench like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, I can't breathe. And once we composed ourselves, it's now a great memory. But in the moment, there was unfortunately a picture on Mass Live of me like this, which was as a result of the layup. But I, you know, that season, Bahu was able to play defense and shoot, and the rest of his teammates allowed him the opportunity to grow into the player he would become. And then we fast forward to the junior season, right? I mean, 2015, we're replacing 10 seniors, so we go from being incredibly experienced to incredibly young. And the other coaches, like, their game plan was real simple. Like, we're going to beat the crap out of Bahu. And I remember the East Hampton game. I mean, he came off the court and he's, you know, bruised and bleeding, and it's like, okay, this is not going well. And, you know, that year we finished with a 7-13 record, but the last 5 games went 4-1. And that really laid the foundation for his senior year. And, you know, that year we again got back to the finals, which was a really great accomplishment. And throughout that season, you know, Bahu was certainly pursuing individual goals, right? He was chasing 1,000 points, but he also clearly was focused on team success. You know, he led our team in rebounds and assists as well as points. But we had some really, Bahu will deny this, but it definitely happened. We had some significant conversations in the ballroom about, you know, coach, I need the ball. I want to score 1,000. And he actually had come with the math of, you know, like, this is what needs to happen in order to get to that point. Again, he'll deny it, but certainly happened. And if Coach Scott was here, he would back me up. And I explained to him, listen, the only way that you're going to get your individual goal is if we continue to win, right? And it culminated in our semifinal game against Granby, which was maybe the ugliest, most beautiful game ever. We won 47-46, and he scored 27 points that night, and his 1,000th point came on an and one, and it was the 47th point. And after the game, it was actually pretty funny. We were talking about it tonight. When you go to UMass, they hustle you right out of the locker room as soon as the game is over. So I'm trying to get him off the court, and he is swarmed by all of these people. And I have the UMass folks yelling at me. We're yelling at Bahu, and his response was, "I can't think right now." So when I think about Bahu, he was truly a coach's joy, right? But he pushed us to be better because he asked lots of questions, and he pushed back, always respectfully. And man, he could really talk crap. It was a real skill. And, it certainly was foreshadowing to now, right? As a coach, it was really hard to decide, when to stop coaching. But of course, becoming the principal kind of dictated that. And it's been great. I got to go see him and his KIPP Academy team play in the state tournament last year. And that was really cool. So I certainly hope when your current players come to you and are trying to chase personal goals, that you can find the same way to navigate it, because those are tough conversations. And Bahu, come on up. Oh, you.
Cool. Thank you everybody for coming out here. Joe completely made up 2 of those 3 stories, so don't pay him any mind. But no, honestly, it's an honor to be here. I want to thank my parents first off. I grew up in Springfield, 35-minute drive to Monson. Personally, I don't know if I would make that drive for my future kids. So shout out to them for doing that. Also, just want to thank everybody who's out here. See a couple of families who welcomed me and took me into their house, the Penningtons. You got Mike over there, Connor, who just, fed me and all that good stuff. So very welcome. And most of the people here in Monson, at the school at least, they've been there from a very young age. And joining at 12, 13 years old and kind of being like the odd one out, felt very welcome, and I appreciate that. But it's an honor to be here today, and look back on my 4 years. It was a great time, and just thank you again, everybody. Thank you, my coaches, some of the teachers I see, and my teammates. You guys have a good one. That first story, just completely ignore it. Never happened.
We'll get your first. Only you wish.
So I just looked at the time and I'm like, we're flying through this and stuff. And then they said, well, slow down a little bit.
No, you said that. We did not say that.
Well, the PC's open till 1 tonight. So. I don't know that because I haven't had a drink in 27 years. I have kids that. Anyway, next up is Mr. Jim Zielinski. You okay?
No. What do you mean? Sober? Yes. All right. Whoa, what an honor for all the inductees to the Hall of Fame. Thousands of athletes have played for Monson over the years. It's in thousands, hundreds of teams, and you guys are selected best of the best. What an honor. So congratulations to all the inductees. I'm not a speaker. I'm Joe Biden, reading the teleprompter here. I'm here to present my favorite player of all time, my daughter, Carly. Carly dedicated most of her free time to her favorite sports of softball, basketball, and soccer. She played varsity basketball for 4 years. She excelled mostly at softball for 6 years in high school. She became the varsity starting pitcher in 8th grade and was just 13 years old. No one's born with all the skills to do these things. It comes with when you put your time, training, and dedication into it. Carly worked extremely hard from 3rd grade on. She would take pitching instruction 2 to 3 times a week, played on rec teams, travel teams, school teams for 9 years. When you put that much time and dedication into anything, you have to expect results. And certainly that happened for Carly. She has the most wins, 75, the most strikeouts, 742, 6 no-hitters, 23 shutouts. It's all in the flyer. Had I known that was all going to be in there, I wouldn't have put it in my speech. Even though she's mostly known for her pitching, she was one of the most feared power hitters in Western Mass. She has the MHS career highs in hits, runs batted in, with 117, triples, 13, home runs, 17. She was all Western Mass first team for 4 consecutive years, 2012 to 16, and Bi-County East All-League for 5 straight years. In 2016, she had her incredible senior season. With 21 wins as a pitcher, 240 strikeouts, she batted .577 with 41 hits, 52 RBIs, 11 home runs. And she helped lead Monson to an undefeated 20-0 regular season and the #1 seed in the tournament. But like Joe, we laid an egg in the final. As a result of this season, she was selected to ESPN All Massachusetts All-State Team and was named the Diana Roberts Outstanding Female Athlete for Monson High School. I didn't want to bore you with all the stats, but they were pretty remarkable. She did all that with a quiet, humble appearance and attitude. But Carly is an extremely fierce competitor when the game is on. She always led by example, never criticized a teammate or argued a call. She was always in control physically and emotionally. Well, which reminds me of one game against Palmer in 2016. The score was tied 2-2 in the 6th inning. Palmer was up, 2 outs, runner on second, and some girl on Palmer hits a line drive right at her ankle. She just did a flip and landed on the ground. But luckily the ball went right to our second baseman. We threw that girl out and they didn't score. Now we had to pick up Carly off the turf. She's crying. We carry her off the field. We ice her down, but I got to go coach third. So she's supposed to bat 4th that inning. And sure enough, we get 2 outs. Then we get a runner on. So now I go to the umpire. I'm going to make a batting change. And she's standing in the on-deck circle. And she's like, I can do it. I'm like, are you sure? So she gets in there and hits one on top of the batting cage out in the outfield for a 2-run home run and limped around the bases For all you older folks like Kirk Gibson in the 1988 World Series, it was quite the sight to see, but needless to say, they got into the next out and we were winning 4-2. Now, I don't know if I should make a pitching change or not. And I'm thinking about it, but she's already on the circle. She's in the mound, and I go out and she says, "I can do it." I'm like, all right, you get one chance. Anybody gets on, you're coming out of the game. Well, she struck out the next 3 batters. And the game was over, keeping our undefeated season alive. So she was just extremely competitive. She went on to pitch at Worcester State College for 3 years and did fairly well, but she lost her senior year to COVID. And anyway, I'm so proud to be her dad and her coach. Those were some great times at Monson High, and I'm so happy that she's being recognized for all her hard work and dedication to the sport and the school. Come on, Pa.
It is truly an honor to be here tonight and to be inducted into the Monson Hall of Fame. Throughout my softball career, there has been a number of people who have supported me and who have positively impacted me athletically. I wouldn't be accepting this award if it wasn't for my team, my family, and all my coaches throughout the years. I want to start off by saying thank you to my teammates for always having my back on and off the field, and to my coaches for teaching me leadership, dedication, and giving me the knowledge I needed to be successful. Also to my friends and family who believed in me and supported me. Thank you specifically to Emily Guerin for catching every single game and being the best at it. Thank you to Brian Guerin, Jill Carneglia, and Kate Zarnicki who supported my career all throughout high school and for being such great coaches who always made me laugh. Thank you to my pitching coaches, Ken Morehouse and Hannah Koch, and most importantly, thank you to my dad. I would not be accepting this award if it wasn't for him. He has been my coach since I first started playing softball and has truly taught me so much. I'll never forget all the weekends away together for travel ball tournaments, pitching in cold basements or in the backyard, and all the time he sacrificed in order for me to be where I am today. He is one of the best and most dedicated coaches this town has ever seen, and his love for the game not only rubbed off on me, but for many other people as well. Once again, this is truly an honor, and I thank you all for sharing this with me, and thank you to those who helped me to get here. And congratulations to all the other inductees. Thank you.
So last but not least, the 2018 girls basketball team. What was that?
That's the first team to not drop the egg.
Wow. Well, anyway, this 2018 girls basketball team was kind of record-setting. They were the first team in a Western Mass, in a state tournament type thing, to win Western Mass and go on to the finals. I have a personal interest in this team because I had my oldest daughter was the JV coach and the assistant varsity coach, and my third daughter was a player on the team. We went to every single game, everywhere they played. This team was a great team. They played well together. They fought through a lot of tough games. The state semifinal game after winning Western Mass, which Western Mass was at the Cage, and I have a little side story that I was gonna bring pictures, but I didn't want to. I had a little accident after the game. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, the people at UMass had some apparatus not where it should have been, and I tripped over it, and I ended up with a few staples in my head. And after the game, they were interviewing my two daughters, and they were crying and stuff, and the person interviewing was like, "Oh, you're crying because you're all happy and stuff like that," and they're like, "Yeah, right," as my dad's over there bleeding, but anyway, it didn't stop me from going to the rest of the games. So I went to the rest of the games. And the state semifinal game that was at AIC was one of the most exciting games that this team and any team played in girls basketball. It went right down to the wire. Monson went up by 3. Maynard had the ball. They got it in, and they chucked it, and it went like halfway down and out. And Monson ended up winning and going to the state finals to play an unbelievable Cole Cassidy team that was probably should have been up a couple divisions. They were just unbelievable. But in that state final game at Springfield College, the girls worked their tails off to do the best they could. So without further ado, I'd like to call Coach Tim Pascal up here. Congratulations, Tim. So after we'll have the girls come up and take a picture, but we'll also take that so they can hold that too.
Thank you, Jim. First, I'd like to recognize anybody in the room that was a veteran and thank you for your service to our country on this Veterans Day. I think Kelsey just stole my line, but Coach Zielinski and Coach Joe, we are here because we didn't lay the egg. I would like to thank the members of the Hall of Fame committee for selecting our team for this honor. Being the first girls or boys basketball team to win a Western Mass championship was an incredible journey. But I'd also like to say thank you to some other people who were important to the team and myself along the way. First, I had a great group of parents, okay, very supportive. It was a great season, a tough season, some tears, but this team was incredible right down to our parents. No, she's not here and no longer our athletic director, but I'd like to thank Jen Govin, who gave me that second chance to coach at the school and lead the girls basketball program again. Assistant coaches never get enough recognition, and I want to thank Jackie Dugan for being my sounding board and keeping me sane along the way while these girls are driving me crazy. My other assistant coach was my son, TJ Pascal, and he took on whatever role I asked of him, whether it was go scouting with me to Lennox or Lee or wherever we needed to go. It was an awesome experience, and I'm glad I got to do it with him. Our team mom and scorekeeper, Elaine Lusty, I can't thank her enough for dealing with the girl issues that we had to deal with, that I could just kind of walk away and say, Elaine, you got this. My fiance, Barbara, sometimes it's tough being the coach's significant other. The roller coaster of emotions of a coach aren't always easy to deal with. Through it all, you always kept me positive, reassuring me we could do this, and we did. Last, but certainly not least, were my players and my managers. You believed in our system and always gave me 100%. It was always our goal to be playing our best basketball at the end of the season. In the winter of 2017-2018, we did just that, beating a Putnam team at the cage to hashtag we made history, hashtag no big deal. Yeah. Then that AIC game that Jim was talking about, I don't know how many of you have seen the video of myself on the sideline, but I wasn't happy at all when that ball went all the way in and then somehow came all the way out. And then we were the last group of kids that got to experience staying in a hotel for the state finals at the La Quinta in Springfield. That was an experience. Yeah, I just, the funny things you remember is just, I told them they had to be in their room at a certain time. So I went knocking on doors at that time. And they were scurrying. We're not always this messy. We're not always this messy. All right, where's Lily? I'm here, Coach, I'm here. Just don't look at my room. Can I meet you just in the hallway? All right. Mrs. Lusty, go in there and see what's going on. But the best thing about this whole thing is the friendships that are made and the memories that I can still remember. And the chance to see some of those players again after 5 years and share some laughs. So I was hoping a couple of them might come up here and say a couple words besides it's not just me. We're a team and the team should be recognized. So I'd like all the girls to come up.
You want to go first? You go first. Yeah, go first. You start. Yeah, you're the little bad. You go first. Well, on behalf of our team, we would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee, our families, and of course, Coach Tim for helping us reach this achievement. Throughout the 2017-2018 season, we all made so many different memories. I can remember the season like the back of my hand, honestly. One of my favorite was probably wanting to get to the state finals just because we got free hotels, and it was the La Quinta in downtown Springfield. Which, the one off 291, yeah. Fabulous place. Fabulous place. And then being at the Sheraton Hotel and us stealing Hershey syrup because that was apparently a delicacy, and Tim looking at us on the bus and being like, why did you guys steal that? But dancing in practice, that was one of our things. We went viral on TikTok my freshman year, so that was also fantastic. But honestly, just being able to put our names on that banner and being recognized for all the hard work that we all put in during that season, it was a great memory, and I still cherish to this day. But yeah, we want to thank you all. We want to thank our families for all the love and support during the season now. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, like everything Sid said, we just want to thank you guys again. I don't know, for like the third time. But it was just like a lovely, awesome experience. Tim failed to mention going through the hotel. Sid and I forgot to wake up for the team picture at 9:30. Oh and my God, yeah. Yep. We showed up so late, banging on our doors. Sid and I are wearing mismatched clothes from the whole team. It's great.
We were supposed to be out of the hotel room at 9:30, and it's 9:29, and I can't get in touch with either of them. So I'm banging on their bedroom door, not answering, and then they just rolled out of bed, and they looked great, like usual. So, and another fun fact for y'all, whenever we won, Tim made us play sweet or cherry pie on the bus, and he would. Did not. Yes, you did.
Actually, pour some sugar on me.
Oh, pour some sugar on me. And so that was always like when we won, we had to get on the bus and play immediately for him, and that was just like the highlight of all of us. Would be like, we have to win, we have to get Tim hyped. Like that's just how it was. It was great experience. Kelsey?
I have nothing to say.
Well, thank you all so much.
So that will conclude our evening tonight. A reminder that our next inductions are in 2 years, in 2025. So if you guys on these teams, whatever, know any teammates that you think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, make sure that you get nomination forms. They usually come out in February of 2025, and fill them out and send them in. And I'd like to thank the committee again. I'd like to thank Twin Hills for hosting. Once again, awesome job, awesome food, very, very much appreciated. No, John, it's only 8:30. I know, it's past your bedtime, and it's dark out. So everybody drive careful, and hope you enjoy the evening. Thanks.